In a world where tattoos have become a widespread form of self-expression, there exists a group of people who choose not to ink their bodies. While tattoos are celebrated as a personal statement, some individuals deliberately opt out of this trend, finding their identity and sense of expression in other ways. But why do some people resist the allure of tattoos, despite their popularity? The psychology behind their decision is layered with cultural, personal, and emotional factors. For them, the decision is not about rejecting art or self-expression, but about valuing other forms of identity, permanence, and self-control. To truly understand this choice, we must look into their mindset, values, and the deeper reasons that guide their actions. It's not just about skin, it's about their entire perspective on life and self-representation. For some people, the permanence of a tattoo simply doesn't align with their view of life. These individuals place a high value on impermanence, believing that the transient nature of existence is what makes life meaningful. To them, everything is in a constant state of change, and that includes their identity. Tattoos, which are permanent fixtures on the body, might seem like a conflict to their evolving sense of self. The idea of fixing something so permanent on their skin feels contradictory to the belief that people and circumstances are always shifting. They see beauty in the fleeting nature of moments, whether it's the changing seasons, the ebb and flow of emotions, or the personal growth they experience over time. To them, being able to reinvent themselves, to change their opinions or interests without being reminded of a past decision, is vital. A tattoo might mark them in a way that they may later feel disconnected from, as their identity grows and transforms. For these individuals, the value lies in the ability to adapt, to embrace change without the weight of something unchanging attached to their body. In their worldview, permanence is less desirable than freedom and flexibility. They believe that marking their skin with a permanent symbol or image would imply that their current self is fixed, when, in reality, they see life as a journey of constant evolution. Choosing not to get a tattoo is not about rejecting art or self-expression, but rather about embracing the idea that their identity doesn't need to be solidified by something permanent. Instead, they find fulfillment in living in the moment and honoring their evolving sense of self without the need for permanent markers. For many people who choose not to have tattoos, the desire for self-expression is not diminished but redirected into internal forms of expression. Rather than externalizing their identity through a permanent symbol on their body, they prefer to express themselves through actions, thoughts, and relationships. These individuals often believe that true identity and creativity lie in more fluid, personal forms of expression, such as through the way they live their life, the things they create, or the connections they form with others. Instead of making a statement through their appearance, they choose to let their actions speak for them. Whether through their work, their passions, or the way they interact with the world, they find that expressing themselves internally offers a deeper, more meaningful connection to their true self. For example, they might find more fulfillment in artistic pursuits like writing, painting, or music. Forms of creativity that can be constantly evolving and don't require permanence. These activities allow them to express their individuality without feeling tied to a fixed, visible representation of who they are. Moreover, these individuals often feel that their sense of self is personal and not necessarily something that needs to be displayed for others to understand. Their identity is shaped by what they do, not just how they look. For them, tattoos may seem like a way of externalizing something that's more profound and complex when kept internal. They may believe that personal growth, emotions, and creativity are best explored privately, and that these experiences are more authentic when they are not bound by something as permanent as a tattoo. Choosing not to get a tattoo, therefore, is an act of embracing self-expression in its most fluid form, where who they are is not defined by what is etched on their skin, but by the ever-changing ways they engage with the world around them. For some individuals, the decision to forego tattoos is rooted in a strong preference for simplicity and clarity in their lives. These people often feel that tattoos, with their intricate designs and personal meanings, can complicate the body and distract from the clarity of their self-expression. They value a minimalist approach to life, one that is unembellished and free from excess. Tattoos, in this view, are seen as unnecessary adornments, which might cloud the directness with which they present themselves to the world. Simplicity for these individuals isn't just about their outward appearance. It reflects a deeper philosophy about life. They prefer to maintain a clean, unmarked canvas to represent their personal clarity. They appreciate the idea of a body that is unaltered by permanent designs, viewing it as a vessel that allows them to express themselves through actions, thoughts, and interactions, rather than through visual symbols. Their idea of self-expression is more about a pure, unclouded essence, one that doesn't need to be signposted or emphasized. These people often seek clarity in other areas of life, too. They prefer straightforwardness in their relationships, work, and goals. To them, complexity or unnecessary embellishments, whether physical or conceptual, can obscure their true intentions and goals. By keeping their bodies free from tattoos, they feel they can maintain this sense of clarity in their self-representation, making their message to the world less about visual noise and more about straightforward authenticity. Moreover, their approach to life often leads them to value experiences over possessions or symbols. Instead of marking their body with ink, they might focus on creating clear, meaningful experiences that don't require permanent reminders. For them, the simplicity of their body mirrors their desire for a life that's free from the clutter of unnecessary distractions. In a society where tattoos are increasingly seen as a mainstream form of self-expression, some individuals choose to reject this trend altogether, not because they dislike tattoos, but because they refuse to conform to societal pressures. Tattoos have become highly popular, often regarded as a cool, trendy, or even necessary part of modern identity, especially in youth culture. For some people, this collective enthusiasm may feel more like a pressure to follow the crowd rather than a genuine desire for self-expression. They resist the idea that getting a tattoo is an expected step in the journey of personal identity. For these individuals, the decision not to get a tattoo is not about a moral objection to body art, but rather an act of independence. They see their choice as a way to maintain autonomy over their body and identity. In a world that often associates tattoos with certain personality types, subcultures, or social groups, these people want to make it clear that they do not need to follow trends in order to feel whole or authentic. Their identity is not dictated by what is in, or what others deem cool or rebellious. Choosing to remain tattoo-free can also be an act of defiance against the commercialization of personal expression. In a society where fashion trends and popular aesthetics can be marketed and commercialized, these individuals may feel that getting a tattoo is just another way for industries to profit off personal decisions. By rejecting this, they are taking control of how they define themselves, rather than letting external forces dictate their self-expression. Ultimately, their decision reflects a conscious choice to remain true to their own values, free from the pressure to conform, and to express their identity in a way that feels authentic to them, not because it's trendy, but because it's what they truly want. For many individuals who choose not to get tattoos, their decision is deeply rooted in personal, spiritual, or cultural beliefs. In some cases, their choice is influenced by a sense of reverence for their body, viewing it as something sacred that should remain unmarked. This perspective is often grounded in a personal or religious philosophy that emphasizes purity, respect for the body, or a belief that the body is a vessel to be honored rather than altered. For some, their faith or spiritual practices may align with the idea that tattoos could be seen as a disruption to the natural state of the body, which should be treated with respect and care. Cultural beliefs also play a significant role in this decision. Certain cultures or traditions may hold specific views on tattoos, either as a form of sacred body art or as something unnecessary, or even taboo. For individuals raised in these cultures, the idea of permanently marking their skin may not align with the values or customs they were taught. In some cultures, tattoos may hold a deeper meaning, such as rites of passage or symbolic representations of identity. But for others, they may be viewed as inappropriate or unnecessary in maintaining cultural or familial expectations. Additionally, Personal values around self-expression can influence the decision. Some people simply believe that their identity should not be marked by permanent symbols. They may feel that their sense of self is more fluid, shaped by experiences and actions, rather than by something permanently etched into their skin. For them, identity is something they can choose to define and redefine over time, without being fixed by permanent body art. In these cases, choosing not to get a tattoo is a reflection of both cultural respect and personal integrity, about honoring one's body and identity in a way that feels aligned with their deepest beliefs.